Welcome back to my channel. So today's scary story comes from a Reddit user. I went to college with this girl who would call up drunk and tell me all of her problems. I was always happy to help. We were close like that. We would also stay over at my apartment sometimes when she had nowhere else to go. One time she called me saying that she had been kicked out of her apartment after getting into a huge fight with her roommate about how dirty the apartment was. Her roommate apparently hadn't done dishes or taken out the trash in weeks. It was disgusting. I told her to stay at my place, and we went to bed around 1 a.m. She slept on the couch, and I slept in my bed. In the middle of the night, I heard what sounded like a woman sighing very loudly. It wasn't like a tired sigh, but more of an airy whoosh sound. Remember, because it woke me up. I kind of just laughed it off and went back to sleep. The next morning, I asked my friend if she heard it too, and she said, "What? What are you talking about?" So I described the sound, and she said, Yeah, I heard that too. I thought it was you." Then I asked her if she heard it the night before, and she said no. And then we both kind of sat in silence for a minute thinking about it. Then she said, "Oh my God, I think it's the ghost of Eileen." Now, Eileen was the girl that used to live in my apartment before me. She died in here 3 years prior. She was found by her boyfriend hanging in the closet in the spare bedroom. They had only been dating for a few months. He came home from work one day and found her dead. Never met her, but I can only imagine she was beautiful, because her boyfriend at the time took his own life shortly after her death. He jumped off the roof of my apartment building. I was so scared. I didn't want to spend another minute in that apartment. I immediately got dressed and left, and my friend stayed there. She actually stayed there for a couple of days after that. She eventually moved out of her horrible apartment and got a new place. Well, fast forward 2 years. I had just moved into a new apartment with my fiancé at the time. We were unpacking boxes in the middle of the night when we both heard a loud sigh. Again, it was that same exact airy whoosh sound. I tried to convince myself that it was just the pipes, but my fiancé wasn't having it. He said it definitely sounded like a person sighing. We decided to just go to sleep, hoping that whatever it was would stop. In the morning, I told him about my college friend and the ghost of Eileen. He looked at me like I was crazy and said he didn't hear anything. But later that week, we had our first sleepover. We were watching a movie when suddenly we heard the sound again. My fiancé and I both froze and looked at each other. Neither one of us wanted to be the first to say it, but we both knew what we had to do. We grabbed our stuff and we left. We went to a hotel. We didn't tell anyone about this. We were too embarrassed to admit that we spent the night in a hotel because we were scared of a sigh. Well, a couple of months later, we moved into yet another apartment. This time we decided to tell our friends about the sighing ghost. They all thought it was hilarious and continued to bug us about it. So one night while they were over, we decided to play a little game. Basically, we pretended that we were scared of something else, so that they could try to convince us otherwise. While playing the game, one of our friends sighed very loudly. Of course, we all laughed, but then one of our other friends started to freak out. She said that it sounded exactly like the ghost and that we should leave. She also started to talk about how my old apartment was haunted. She kept insisting that we had to get out of there right now. My fiancé and I just kind of played along with it. But then my friend's phone started ringing. She excused herself to go to another room to answer it. And when she came back, she was pale and shaking. She told us that it was her brother. He was calling from the police station. Apparently they had found the body of a girl in my old apartment. She was hanging in the closet just like Eileen. It turns out that the girl that died was the roommate of the girl that I let stay at my apartment. The girl that I let stay at my apartment had recently moved. No one knew where she went, but it turns out she had taken her own life. As for my friend, she said that she has nightmares about sighing ghosts to this day. So I think this is pretty messed up. You know, I'm not sure if she meant for this to come across this way, but it sounds like the author is insinuating that the girl that died in her apartment is haunting her. Like even the fact that she says the ghost of Eileen and then talks about Eileen in past tense as if she is still there. Then you have the fact that every time something happens, she runs away instead of investigating it. Like the story with the friend, they could have just been like, "Hey, let's turn the lights on," but no. She grabs her things and runs away. Even though if it was really a ghost, wouldn't the ghost be in the closet? I don't know. Seems like if you're going to run away from something, you should probably check the closet first. And that goes for the second time as well. These are two separate incidents. So it makes sense that you would run away a second time. But again, why not check the closet? Also, I gotta say, I love the fact that the author just kind of casually lets it slip that her ex-fiancé is now her husband. I mean, I know that technically she would have gotten married after the story with the friend. But still, it's kind of weird how she doesn't mention anything about them breaking up. It's like the story ends and she's just married. I mean, I guess that's good for her, but it's kind of weird how she just skips over that detail. And finally, this may or may not have anything to do with the story, but after reading this, I looked up the story of Eileen. Apparently the story varies depending on who you ask, but most people agree that the girl did hang herself. However, some people claim that she was pushed by her boyfriend. The thing is, the boyfriend didn't kill himself. He went to jail for abetting a suicide, and after he got out, he started dating someone else. I guess he couldn't take the guilt anymore and he confessed to everyone, which resulted in him being sentenced to 7 years for manslaughter. Now, I don't know why I find this so interesting, but maybe it's because we do, and often get updates on stories like we did with this one. Well, that is the end of today's story, and I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to follow if you haven't already, and also feel free to check out the podcast. There will be a link in the description. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been supporting. It really does help to put out new videos and keep me from going insane. Anyway, I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.